We're all set to get going with the panel discussion, the final one of the OOH Summit 2025. I request all of you to please kindly come in and settle down. We're all set to get going with the panel discussion in the next 2 minutes. So I request all of your presence and cooperation inside. Cultural relevance and localization in the space of OOH advertising. It emphasizes on how brands can effectively tailor their campaigns to resonate with diverse customer markets, ensuring that messaging as well as visual effects, local customs, values and preferences to enhance engagement, and most importantly, brand loyalty, something that drives customer engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, cultural relevance and localization, crafting OOH campaigns for diverse markets, the topic for the third panel discussion of the day. We just had a panel a while back before tea. This was about sustainability. We are covering all the aspects related to the industry, related to OOH advertising, and I'm sure this is going to be extremely beneficial and knowledgeable as well. What I'm going to do on stage right now is I'm going to be first inviting our honorable moderator to come on stage and join me, and then I'll be introducing our panelists and requesting them to join me on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready as I call on stage Ms. Promita Saha, VP Marketing from Karukrit, to join me on stage as our honorable moderator for the session. Please give her the biggest round of applause. Everybody over here in this room, thank you so much. As she joins me on stage, I request you to take your seats. Now I'm going to be calling our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Nikhil Shrikhande, Head Brand Partnership, Mancunianz, with us as well. Please, Nikhil ji ke liye bajaye everybody zor se taali. I love that smile on your face, sir. Beaming with joy and excitement. Looking forward to hearing from you. Give him a bigger round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. I know we are a full house over here. I'm optimistic about that space. So thank you so much. It deserves every bit of it. I'll also like to call upon stage Jaikishin Chhaproo, Head Media and PR, ITC Limited, on stage as well, please. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jaikishin ji. I'd also like to request Ishika Sharma, Associate Director from Bliss Club, to please kindly join me on stage. Give a huge round of applause to Ishika Sharma as well, please, everybody over here as she joins us on stage. I'll also request Mr. Mohd Asghar, co-founder and CEO BrandOnWheelz, to please join me on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I request Mohd Asghar ji, co-founder and CEO BrandOnWheelz, to please kindly join us on stage. Give him a bigger round of applause, everybody over here. Agar aap log nahi bajaoge, to what I'm going to do is I'm going to be coming over here and I'm going to do it on your behalf. So thank you so much. Very kind of all of you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call upon stage Madhu, Dutta, Head of Marketing from Raymond as well, to please join us as a panelist. Give it up for Madhu ji as well, everybody over here. Thank you so much. We all enjoyed a great lunch. We all enjoyed a great tea session as well. Now it's time to encourage for the final panel discussion of the day. And I'm sure it's going to only get bigger and better with the awards going forward. So thank you so much. Request all of you to please take your seats.
Thank you so much. Very good evening. I guess this is the third and the last panel before we all break into the awards ceremony. A lot of us are waiting for that ceremony. So great topic of conversation we have today because when we think about our country, the first thing that we all talk about is how diverse we are and how culturally different we all are. When we see ourselves on stage here, from a Saha to a Sharma to a Dutta to a Chhaproo, we represent pretty much different parts of India, and we all have been consumers of different advertising campaigns throughout our lives. We have a very healthy group here in terms of representation. From a media buying or a marketeer perspective, we have Mr. Jaikishin Chhaproo, the Head of Media and PR in ITC, and we have Ma'am Madhu Dutta from Raymond. From an agency, media provider, media developer perspective, we have Muhammad from BrandOnWheelz, who talks about transit advertising. And I also come from a media developer owner agency background where we provide different forms of media. We have Bliss, which gives us an analytics platform for personalization or maybe hyper-personalization. And we have the other end of the spectrum where we have design, content providers of digital marketing and various campaigns through Mancunianz. So I think when we have a discussion today, we will have different points of view coming from different stakeholders. So the first question, which is a given, still let's do one round where I'll start with you, ma'am. In a country like ours, the question today, I guess, is no longer whether cultural relevance or a regional nuance is required for an advertising campaign. I guess it's a given now. But given that you are in a very, very diverse category of lifestyle, where every state in India differs, you are into multiple clothing categories. So, what is your point of view into crafting out of home campaigns with this diversification and regional nuance in mind?
Thank you for the question. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a very interesting question, and as you rightly said, that cultural diversity is something that it's no longer something people need to think about. That today's day and age, it's not that you do one national campaign and you just can get away with it. However, in terms of the category that I handle, and mostly that's what I have handled in my entire professional life across various brands and organization, I think it's very important, even in an out of home, which is one of the most, I believe that it's one of the most impactful medium as well. Yes, it has been evolving over the last couple of decades. It's very important that we bring in those nuances, the cultural relevance in that medium as well, because end of the day, it has to resonate with the emotions and the cultural context of what is the messaging that you're giving out. So therefore, whether it's a clothing brand or whether it's something that you're consuming from a fashion point of view or a lifestyle point of view, speaking the language, resonating with that, bring in the simplicity in terms of the messaging, and associating with the audiences through a very simple yet authentic communication through a medium of outdoor. I think it's very important.
Sir, coming to you, I have to call him sir because I am also ex-ITC and it's difficult to call your senior by name. Sir, you handle multiple categories, whether it is a biscuit to a frozen food to agarbatti, where it touches a consumer very differently. And you have the responsibility of handling the entire media for all these categories. And out of home today, of course, is very different from a print or a TVC or digital. So, your point of view, sir, on when you are buying media for these various categories from an out of home perspective, please share some insights on how do you go about the planning process, or what essentially do you look into to handle these diverse categories?
Good afternoon, everyone. See, if you look at the role of out of home, the basic role of out of home continues to remain in generating impact in that given geography and creating awareness in case if it is a new launch or something, and it acts as a reminder in certain cases. So, if you have your objectives clear, whether it is a campaign for an agarbatti or for frozen food or for any other category for that matter, the choice of options that you will pick up will always kind of be suited to that particular requirement. So I'll take one example. In case of agarbatti, when the Ram temple was coming up in Ayodhya, we knew we had to be there. But we also knew that there would be a significant amount of other brands that would be kind of available. So how do you make yourself distinctive? How do you think of an activity for which you will be recalled even years to come? So there were multiple set of things that we did in Ayodhya at that point of time. One was we actually partnered with approximately 150 odd stores and outlets which were selling flowers, agarbattis and all the puja samagri, if I would put it. And we branded it with Mangaldeep. We partnered with the temple premises as well as with the local security team. So most of the barricades had Mangaldeep branding on it. There were some people who were doing all the odd jobs around there, sevaks or whatever you call them. So some 200, 300 sevaks were given Mangaldeep t-shirts. So there was another kind of a point of recall. And then we said, what is the big thing that we want to do? So the entire corridor to the Ram temple, we actually set up 5 feet agarbattis and we placed them at a certain distance. And that technically became the fragrance of the temple. And that was the highlight because each of the agarbatti would last for almost 8 hours. So it had you can't kind of miss something like this if you're visiting the temple at that point of time. So these are the kind of things that we did when it came to a Ram temple opening. Second example I can think of is when we did the Dark Fantasy Shah Rukh Khan tie-up. Even the TVC was technically talking about Shah Rukh being coming in live for a common man, and that's how we kind of took it on different platforms. So one of the digital elements was you put your own picture on a link, and the entire TVC comes with your own face. And we had two, the male option and the female option. So one was. Anyways, so the limited point is that you could see yourself in that ad. How do you take it down on the ground and how do you kind of make it local? Again, one of the things that we had picked up was when post-pandemic Mondelez had done that customization with Shah Rukh ad and each of the local shop names had kind of come in. So we said, yeah, now we have Shah Rukh. Why can't I go in the market and kind of just do all the shop fronts with Shah Rukh's face and the face of the shopkeeper? So that's the kind of localization that we drove in certain markets out there, especially in the markets where dark fantasy was having a challenge, and we knew that with Shah Rukh we could kind of leverage it far better. So these are the kind of things that I can think of top of mind for from these categories.
Amazing examples. I think we have all seen the integration of Mangaldeep in the Ram temple, where it was a excellent example of a regional flavor getting into the consumer emotions completely, and the amazing fitment of the category. Of course, the challenge of the brand is you have the fitment, you have an occasion. Now, how much can you go up to with the power of out of home? So, thank you for that example. Now,
Promita, just one second,
yes.
just out of curiosity. Now that we all know this Kumbh Mela is going on, just out of curiosity, are you guys doing something over there as well?
Yes, in fact, we have a couple of stalls out there in the activation area. So, see, unlike Ram Temple, the Kumbh, I don't know if you visited it, I haven't, but my team actually just returned back 2 days back from there. So, in Kumbh, what they've done is there is a area that has been kept for all the brand to have their stalls and experiential and activation out there. So unfortunately, everybody is in that same space trying to kind of do things. So we have, if I recollect well, we have a bingo stall out there and a EP stall out there. But somebody, my team was telling me there's something that Vritti Media has done, which is they have some vehicles moving with branding and all. And I think Unilever has partnered with them. So that's one brand they could recall very strongly, which was making an impact besides that activation zone.
Nice.
So in fact, that's with Bingo. With Savlon, we have also done the hand washing thing. So while there are different stations, about 200 stations put up at different locations to wash your hands, there is also an army of people who have been equipped with water tanks on their back with a nozzle spray and hand wash with them. So if you're kind of going or if you're sitting, because most of the akhadas are actually giving free food around the day. So 24 hours free food is available. You can walk into anywhere. So the people walking in, they need to wash their hands. So this kind of works far better.
Definitely, that's quite an interesting integration there.
Yes, I think everybody has Kumbh in their mind in terms of how can I make my brand visible today with crores of people visiting. Today, when we say out of home, thousands of media vehicles are available. I mean, I come from an organization where we have been told that Karukrit installed the first out-of-home traditional format hoarding in India in 1932. And we also have documents and pictures where we see very old formats of traditional out-of-home. From there today, there are so many different formats of out-of-home today, whether it is a digital screen, whether it is branding in stations, in airports, festivals. Today, if there is a promoter who is wearing your brand t-shirt with a mobile tank and a nozzle spray, for us, that is also out-of-home advertising. Muhammad handles a very challenging form of out-of-home, which is transit. And when we say transit, it's not only the railway stations or the airports. We have something which goes deep into rural India, which is our cabs and which is our autos. So, Muhammad, what has been your experience with brands who have actually capitalized this as a regional advertising vehicle and have helped to devise culturally relevant advertising campaigns with your company?
Hello. Yeah. Hi, everybody. So, thank you for the question. Yes, we deal with cab owners and we deal with auto drivers. So that is local. So when we call local, it is right on the street. So we deal with very difficult crowd there because these people are very sensitive. I could say all this, the topic what we are talking right now is very emotion. We are connected very emotionally with this thing. So any state, let's say I'm from Karnataka, Bangalore. So I have seen many times brand telling that we just want to use English and we don't want to use a local language, which is very challenging when it comes to us because we need to convince each and every person. Let's say we are doing 1,000 cabs, 1,000 autos. They are all locals. We need to convince them telling that this is the reason why they are not using it. But right now, I think things are changing. Brands are understanding that yes, a local connect is required because there are a lot of case studies. I could just recall one of the things which we are discussing, that Bata shoes, which I know from my childhood. And I didn't think that the Bata is from a foreign country or it's not national. I thought it is national, and I have seen their ads from 1980s or 1990s. I've seen their ads in the local language, maybe in Karnataka or Delhi or Gujarat, everywhere. So the same kind of thing which I could also connect was one of the case, which is, I think just last year it happened, was the Nandini milk, which is very famous in Karnataka. And people were so emotionally connected to it, So Amul wanted to get into this space, and they were not agreeing. People started sending memes about it. And even today, I think Amul struggled to get it. So the whole thought is, why can't brand connect something like that? We have brands now who are trying to connect with people. Tomorrow, when the generation goes on, they should be a brand who is locally connected, and people should think, okay, this is my own brand. I will not give up on this brand. A similar way, we did one campaign with Godrej Capital, a very beautiful campaign for cabs. We executed around in around 36 cities and different states. And the brand understood when we said that yes, a local language is required, and we have around 8 to 9 different local creatives with the local language and connecting with the people. So that matters a lot. There is another brand which we recently worked, and I was wowed when I studied a bit about how they are going and how they are expanding, is Namma Yatri. Now, the name itself, Namma, is a Kannada word which comes from Karnataka, which is our. Yatri is an Hindi word. So such a beautiful collaboration of a local language and regional language, that is Hindi. When they went to Hyderabad, they said Mana Yatri, which is again sounding, they're using their local language and the thing. And I was just telling you that Sati Yatri in Kolkata. And similar ways, they have been doing the similar way. They've been, expanding it with the logo, and they connect with the people, because when they connect with this auto drivers or, taxi drivers, they're locals. So they start seeing that, yeah, they are for us. They are thinking about us. They get emotionally connected. So yes, the question is, the brands are putting the efforts. There are a lot of brands who are coming up and telling us, yeah, and we as an agency, many times we suggest brands, telling that if you're doing in any of these states, the local language and the local connect has to be there. There should be something which they can connect on. For example, just now, as Sir said, uh, the festivals, a similar way, for Dasera, there was one vehicle which was wrapped up with the colors, which connects with a local Mysore thing, with Tipu Sultan and other royal kings there. And they had a very jazzy, what do you call this, lights and stuff in the auto. And this auto was playing a local music. So a lot of people, it went viral, on the social. So a lot of people connected. I think that's what brand need to do to get in and penetrate into the local market.
Nikhil, your organization is into content development, and you have also worked with automobile clients to help them devise regional campaigns. You were talking about retail outreach. Now, one of the very important elements of any vertical is, of course, where we sell. It can be modern trade, it can be the normal Kirana store, it can be your automobile stores. So, share with us the example that you were talking about, where you helped an automobile client to get into the regional advertising in this out of home retail medium.
Hello, I'm audible. Yeah. So, in the automobile space, right, we have worked with brands like Tata Motors in the commercial space, to give them outreach in the local side of things, right? And we have noticed in the regional side of commercial vehicles, people really give a lot of importance to their vehicles, commercial vehicles as a personal vehicles, and localized messaging played a very important role there, right? Given that the competitors had a major market share when we entered the market there. And when we started giving them a local messaging, that is where we saw a shift in market share towards Tata Motors, and they are now established very well in the commercial vehicle space in Rajasthan. Similarly, I have a similar case study in southern market wherein a client called Jotun Paints, which is really big internationally. They are just entering in India right now, and they paints industry is more retail centric, right? Up you go to hardware stores, you see paints, and that is where you buy it, right? And we gave them a very localized messaging when it comes to Onam festivals and all of those South festivals. So that is where they had a good retail outreach to the south of India.
Thank you, Nikhil. Automobiles, actually, you brought out a very interesting point that our behavior towards our private vehicle versus the commercial vehicle, the behavior from the consumer side is very different. And yes, how can we fine tune it to a regional nuance to make it more impactful? Ishika, in today's day and age of data, analytics, studying consumer behavior, where we go, where we are having our cup of coffee, which mall we are visiting, which traffic routes are we taking. I was having a very interesting conversation with you, and you were sharing, how this kind of data, as a case study, helped to actually form an out-of-home campaign. If you could share that insight with all of us, how that campaign went about and what data was used.
Sure, Promita. So, this was actually again one of the auto brands that we have collaborated with. It was for Skoda. What we had done was that getting into as localized as possible, we ran multiple creatives on their mobile phones, which were in vernacular languages, which basically means that in Karnataka, the creative was in Kannada, in Tamil Nadu, it was in Tamil, you know. And now, what we were actually doing was that since the creative was in vernacular language, To add an incremental reach, what we also did that we tied up with their OH partner. What we did was that whatever creatives were there in their own languages in respective states, whenever a user was passing by any of these hoardings that had been put up at multiple locations, we were collecting their device IDs from that particular locations and we were retargeting those users on their mobile. So that basically means that you are collaborating offline and online advertising together, where picking up device IDs from the point of interest, which is your OH billboard areas, and then picking up those device IDs and retargeting them on their mobile phones. So we could reach out to the same user twice. So it had a great top of mind recall.
Ma'am, I'll come back to you again, where we are talking a lot about culture and regional nuances. When this gets into a communication or a campaign strategy, a major input of that is, of course, research. Today, let's say if there is a brand manager who is new and who hails from Bengal, like me, but she's handling a brand where the campaign has to be designed for, an experience in Uttar Pradesh. So in these kind of scenarios, ma'am, what kind of research, or how would you say that these insights come in to the marketing team, and what are better ways of doing it versus somebody just coming and saying, I'm born and brought up here, this is what we do in Durga Puja, versus is there any structured way? I'm sure there are structured way of unearthing regional insights, from your current role or previous roles, if you could share that, because ultimately that would go in making the campaign.
See, a couple of things which are considered in during a scenario like this is in a retail format. It's very important because we have our local teams there.
Yes.
There are two ways of working on it. One is obviously to do a research in terms of a quick chirpy rich, because it's not an extensive research in terms of understanding stuff. There are two ways. One is to do a very quick top line kind of a research, a quali one, to understand what are the local nuances, basically to start with, who's the consumer you want to address. So starting from there to understand what are the, in our category, what are the different facets of things that needs to be considered into this particular campaign that we are going ahead. If it's for example, if it's a festival, to understand in depth about the festival, how the product or the brand can get positioned in that seamlessly. The second part is very clearly that we take, because since across the different brands that I've handled are all retail formats, so there is a full-fledged retail team which is also there in the local markets as well, and getting first-hand feedback from them as well. Like for example, in a lifestyle or jewelry or fashion, like what are the trends there, what are the colors that are relevant to that festival, what are, like for example, in Calcutta, if I have to do something for Pujo, like what are the current trends, just a top line, and therefore from there taking it forward, so that once the campaign breaks, the campaign does not look extremely cold to the audience there. It has to be a part of that cultural entire nuances. And there were multiple examples. Like I was head of marketing for Pantaloons before this assignment. So Pantaloons is extremely active in the East. In fact, the first store of Pantaloons started in Calcutta as well, the Goriahat store. So we had done multiple stuff. Other than that, what we wanted that also, that how do you continue the love for the brand there. So music is an integral part of Pujo. So what came up very strongly, and I also come from that market, that during Pujo there are two things, major things that people wait for. One is the Pujo Barshiki, which is the ABP. They come up with the the, whether it's Anandamala or everything, and the other thing, that what are the new Pujo songs that come in. So what we had done very clearly for that we had actually, instead of bringing out a new song, what we had done, we created, I'm talking about, this is 2014, I guess. So that time CDs were still, people were still had the habit of, dealing with CDs. So we had actually collated, or rather curated, all the old Bengali songs, Pujo songs, and gave it a full-fledged, a collection of sort, which actually we tied up. We worked with HMV and got their, I mean, obviously there were a lot of permissions and all that required, where we curated an entire section of the old Pujo songs which were not readily available. And that particular thing, that CD was branded. Then we had done a series of poetries around. We gotten hold of a local, copywriter, and got the entire storytelling through different pujo. I mean, people here may not understand, but some of you are Bengalis here as well, like pujo chora, what we call it, right? So those were the things, and then we distributed that. There were nothing like, every customer who walked into a pantaloon store, whether you are buying a 200 rupees merchandise or you are buying whatever amount, that didn't matter. But as a brand, it was a gift to the customer. That actually was a very, very, it was taken very beautifully by each and every customer. In fact, the kind of demand, we had to actually go for a second and third round of, reordering those CDs. Even the year next year, everybody was looking forward to, like, are you guys coming up with another collection of that? So just give you this example to say that, one is you do the research, but what and how, in a thoughtful way, you use that research to actually deliver something which also stays with. It's not just a communication like you do a print ad or you do a television commercial, but also something which stays back with the consumer, and which also creates that brand love and continues with the brand love. With Raymond this year, we did something again, and Raymond, again, Pujo is one of our biggest. I mean, why Raymond? Every brand, I think, they eye for Durga Puja in Calcutta. So, other than, okay, you talk about collections, you're talking about new designs, new everything. But music is something that we got ahead of. We created a music video this time. And it was with Anupam Roy. He was we tied up with him, and with SVF, which is the music company there. We created an entire Pujo song, which was the Raymond song. And we never wanted any Raymond in that and all that. But it was a very happy moment where you're celebrating the festival. And within that celebration, obviously the clothes and the ensembles were very beautifully integrated. That became a part of it. But what stayed back was the music that you brought in, the Pujo flavor that you brought in. And it's like almost the brand is celebrating your culture. It is not like I'm a national brand and I'm just, typically what I have seen a lot of brands do, and which I feel that when you are getting into celebrating a festival, you need to go whole hog, not just put a very unrelated picture and put a Durga eye there. That's not really respecting the culture. So if you want to resonate with that, then you have to go whole hog and understand the culture, take it forward and then work around that. So these are multiple examples, and these are certain things that it's not something that people, it's and also this makes the brand non-transactional. This connects in a very emotive way with the customer, and that's what stays, and that's what maybe it will, at that point in time, you can't say with this my sales have gone up 10x, but what it stays, is a constant brand love that you create, and which is for eternity, and not just the one transaction that you do.
I think, ma'am, that's the beauty of crafting campaigns around cultural nuances, because uh, it's never on a transactional basis. I think whether it's the Ram Mandir example, or something that Lifebuoy did 12 years ago in Kumbh with that imprint on the roti.
Right.
So what you take back as a consumer is not a transaction. And because with transaction, I am not sure whether loyalty comes. That, okay, I've got a Raymond suit this time with 20% discount. Am I going to go back and buy Raymond again from that retail outlet? You never know. So I think as a country, that's the beauty of it. And sir, apart from the Ram Mandir example, we have also seen ITC engage very massively during Rath Yatra as well, or even a Bali Yatra. So, sir, is the media buying during these festivals? One is, of course, the on ground branding that we all see. Calcutta is dunked with on ground. Rath, there is on ground branding all across. Ganpati here, the gates, the banners. Does that impact the buying of the usual digital billboards, traditional formats during this time, when you see that there is too much of expenditure going on the on ground branding? Any point of view on that?
See, typically what happens is when there's a festivity like a Durga Puja or Rath Yatra or Ganpati, you want to be a part of it. The unfortunate truth is that everybody wants to be a part of it, and hence there is a significant amount of clutter. So, as a brand, what is it that you will do differently and own that entire festive without being lost in the clutter? So, since you picked up the example of Puri Rath Yatra, two examples immediately crossed my mind. So, we have a floor cleaner brand called Nimail, and we Orissa is one of the good markets, and we wanted to do something around Rath Yatra. So it's a floor cleaner brand. How do you kind of associate with it? So again, research, having a chat with the local people, we understood one thing, that the day before the Rath actually goes to the temple, the entire path is cleaned. It's sprinkled, cleaned, and washed and everything. We saw that as an opportunity, and we basically ended up getting in some TV celebs and other things, and we did that 1 kilometer of wash with Nimail. And because it's a temple thing, the product needs to be cleared by the temple, and because it was completely all original oils and all, there was no chemical, nothing. We actually got that approval to do it. We just owned it, because whatever branding or other things that came in, Nimail had technically just owned it, because we were on every news channel. We had some municipal corporator, some minister who had also come in. When they got to know that something like this is happening, they also wanted to come in. So Nimail just owned it before even the Rath Yatra started. That's one example. The second example that I can think of is from Ashirwad. So again, what typically happens is, like any festivity and all, lot of people throng in for any of such activities. There are a lot of old people who cannot do that walk or cannot experience that journey of pulling that rath. So how do you make it, how you enable it for people like this? So what Ashirwad did 2 years back, and we continue doing it each year now, we created a VR headset, which was actually the entire walk to the temple of the rath. And to just give an experience, we actually put in a treadmill, and there was a rope that was actually given to some to the people. So you are wearing a VR headset, and you are actually experiencing the entire thing of walking, that slow walk, and you have that rope to kind of give you that feel till the time you reach that temple. So जितना जिसकी श्रद्धा, जितना जो walk कर सकता है, because there were a lot of senior citizens who came in, who just wanted to kind of have that experience of pulling the rath. So that's something that we did. And also we didn't stop there, because we knew that these people will not be in a position to go and pick up the prasad from the temples. We actually arranged for the prasad for the temple for them after this experience, which was handed to them. So again, multiple brands doing multiple things. You do something different. You connect with one of the key challenges that most people face, and there you land yourself out there. So in fact, this year I recollect when Rath Yatra happened, Ashirwad anyways had that space, and we saw at least 2 or 3 other brands doing exactly the same thing. So that itself is an endorsement that whatever we were doing was actually just connecting really well with the people and the different brands who had seen it, who they wanted to replicate it as well.
No, I think वही sir कि especially during festivals, breaking the clutter it's a given, and the more powerful the idea, the flawless the execution. That's where the eyeballs and the participation go to. Ishika, I had a question here where again you have a platform to study consumer behavior. Um, how a person, or should I say, any kind of data that your platform provides which can capitalize during these festivals, too much, lot of people congregating in one place, or do you think there is any kind of analytics that can give any insights into um, how am I as a person in terms of my cultural preferences? Is that even possible in today's day and time? So, okay, so if I am tracked through my app, as we were discussing, you might see that, okay, I visit a lot of Starbucks. Yes, I'm a huge lover of coffee. But anything which is partly regional, is it possible to dig out from the kind of information you provide to brands? Sorry if it's a dumb question, but just out of curiosity.
No, I think it's not dumb at all. It's definitely, I'll be very happy to share that something like this is definitely possible. And I'll also throw some light as to how is this possible. So what we actually do is we have partnerships with multiple mobile applications. Say, for example, say a Times of India or a CricBuzz. So these applications are categorized into multiple genres, say news, business, finance, sports, entertainment, retail, utility, real estate, So when a user actually downloads any of these apps, a user ends up giving a permission to their location. When if you remember when you downloaded, say, a Times of India ample years ago, you must have given a permission that, okay, I'm okay to give access to my location. So with that SDK integration that we have with these applications, I have access to their locations. And also I have access to what kind of applications are users using on their phones, where are the users actually going to, what kind of content are they consuming on their phones, even for that matter, what kind of handsets are they using, what is the price value of those handsets. So a lot of data gets captured at our end. Of course, I would like to mention that I do not know who that user is. I only know that user's device ID.
Right.
And I have a probabilistic idea of that user's gender and probabilistic idea of that user's age group. So there's no breach of privacy, in case that could be the next question. So no, there's no.
We all agree to give access to all our, photos and locations. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So, answering your first question, that yes, it's definitely possible. Now, say for an example, if, let's pick up Kumbh, since that's the new hot topic which is happening at this point in time. If so our platform has the capability of drawing polygons. So what we can do is, through my platform's capability, I can draw a polygon around the Kumbh area where people are actually coming to take the holy dip. You can draw a polygon with a radius of, say, since there's a huge audience over there, you can go as high as, say, 20 kilometers, chalo, to say an example. We can go as narrow as 10, 20 meters also, but then this example does not make sense. Let's take an example of 20-kilometer radius at the Kumbh Mela. So I, through my platform, will have access to at least bare minimum 10 million device IDs. Like on a very small number, I'm saying. Now, when I read by these device IDs is, I would know that in that location, what kind of audience has come, what is their age group, what is the kind of phones they are using, what kind of content are they consuming, are they very religious, do they read a lot of religious content, are they someone who are very fashion oriented, are they someone who are very up to the date, since they're very news oriented people who use a lot of news applications, a lot of fashion applications. So any kind of detailing is something I can pick up from their device ID with the SDK integration. So I would know that. Now, for example, if you ask me that the ones who attended the Kumbh Mela, do you think anyone is relevant to who I can probably throw ads for a fashion brand, for you especially, for a fashion brand, or maybe are they someone who are interested in, say, I mean, definitely they're religious, that's why they're there, but not necessarily everyone would be. So, for example, particularly, I'm not as religious, but if I'm there, but still, I've come there with the motive. So you can still reach out to them with Mangaldeep advertisements of Mangaldeep, right? So definitely picking up device IDs, using and leveraging the power of location, understanding what kind of location history a person has, understanding the psychographics of a person, what kind of content are they consuming. You can definitely create a custom cohort which a brand can leverage eventually.
If I may just add, there's one more real case example that we have actually been using widely with likes of Reliance stores or even DMart. So once a person is in that vicinity, it's very easy to trigger brand ads. If I know somebody is entering Reliance store, it's so easy for me to just keep triggering, Engage creatives or Fiyama creatives or Art or Mangaldev creatives for that matter. And we have been doing this in the recent past. So I thought that was more relevant in terms of a brand plug or something that how this tech can be used to take things ahead from a localization perspective of messaging. So if I this can also be triggered with some of the billboards in that vicinity, and
Yeah.
then leading into messaging on the mobile phones.
Yeah, I mean, it can easily be. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is getting done. As in taking the billboards in the vicinity, it's a very logical extension. The timer has stopped, so either I'm doing a terrible job or I've overshot. I have no idea. I mean, no, but
In
no,
the
but it's
meantime,
the timer has stopped. So
ignore. I mean, we're having even the
no,
timer
but
is
thank
spellbound.
you.
That's why
But
it
there
stopped. So
are.
it's listening. So you can continue for some more time,
So
and
I
then
think I'm sure the time has come to. I really have no idea how much time has gone by,
Yeah.
because it has stopped for the past 10 minutes or so. It's not
Yeah.
moving. Uh, I'll maybe just take a last question for Muhammad. Uh, I should have given the answer, but it's a politically incorrect question. So you do the answering, because I come from a
Looks like
very
a tricky
heavy,
question.
yeah. So I come from a very heavy background of traditional out of home.
Okay.
Very little digital, right?
Okay.
Now you do transit, which to a lot of Indians matters the most,
True.
right? And now we have tons of digital out of home,
Right.
huge LED screens,
Right.
stations, airports. So, as somebody who is championing the cause of transit, rural, on ground, what is your point of view between traditional out of home, which includes what you are doing, and digital out of home?
Very good question. Very difficult
Thank
to
you.
answer, but yeah, let me give a shot. Now, as we know, traditional always holds its place. We have been seeing hoardings, we have been seeing a lot of traditional thing which will never lose uh, its value, you know.
Muhammad, this
Yeah.
question is more from the reference of cultural context.
Okay.
We are not here, this panel is not talking about generic stuff.
Okay.
From a cultural context, let
Okay.
me add
Okay.
that bit. Yeah.
Okay. Then, now see, when we are talking about cultural, we are also talking about reaching to rural, right? Now, I have seen traditional doing wonders in rural. Maybe the agencies and other people have still not reached out to the rural market when where the DOH is being applied. But when it comes to traditional, it's easy to approach, into the rural market because you don't have anything there. When I say transit, I can take Tata Ace, have a creative, or make kind of a mold of a temple or something, and have it done. We can have a successful campaign there. So still, I think the ruler is still not. I think we have not tapped that market. That's what I could say. We have not tapped that market, but once we tap, I think that's a good way because a lot of people from rural are moving towards the city. There are a lot of movement there. They're coming to the cities looking for work, and that's where we have what do you call this? Collab, I could say, where rural and urban gets together, and we deliver something in the cities like all the metro cities. But I think when it comes to rural, we need to look into something innovative. We need to get into there with a lot of DOH. We need to educate them, about this, is what my view on it. I hope I would have answered that correctly.
Yeah. I think this. Okay, I was just maybe being slightly light-hearted about it. There is no debate between the importance of digital out of home and traditional out of home.
True.
It is completely a function of, as what Sir said, what is the objective of your campaign. Second, where do you want to reach your consumer? Is it reaching her at a retail point? Is it
Correct.
reaching her when she's approaching the Rath on that grand road? Is it reaching her when she is going to give a dip into the waters? Third, of course, is the availability of infrastructure. In one of the keynote sessions today, we were all hearing that the day digital out of home becomes more affordable for media owners like us, media developers like us, I'm sure it will see that level of penetration or that distribution that maybe today India deserves.
True. You're right.
Last, again, on a very light hearted note, since Nikhil, I would want you to end the panel today. When we were just having an informal discussion during lunch, we were all thinking that today when we talk about culture, it is also a part of our history, right? So historical, there are so many biographics being made, and movies talking about historical characters. So Nikhil, you might want to end the discussion by your latest influence of how a cultural campaign can be woven around a movie that you have just seen, and how we have lots and lots of opportunities to craft out of home campaigns based on the immense cultural aspects that we have for each state, each community, each religious or non-religious festival.
Definitely. So, local figures generally play a very important role when it comes to localized messaging and tier two, tier three, reaching the audience, right? Right. And we have recently seen the movie Chhawa playing a very crazy outreach towards the local side of Maharashtra. And that figure is very important to us, being a Maharashtrian, right? And it resonates through most of us, right? And leveraging something like that ad plays helps a lot when it comes to reaching the audience, when it comes to resonating with them, and maybe when it comes to regional influences as well, right? Small regional influences like Pushpa 2, we have had a very immense reach out for Pushpa 2 as well in the southern side of the country, and that was also very helpful when we craft campaigns around them, when we use their messaging aiming to get out the messaging of the products for our brands, for our consumers as well. So yeah.
That's another perspective. So thank you for being so patient. And this is the last panel. I think after this, we are all looking forward to the gala award ceremony, and more power to out of home. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I request all of you to give them a warm and huge round of applause. For the same, I request all of you to please kindly wait on stage. I'll request Promita to kindly please give away the mementos to all our fellow panelists over here, please. And can we please appreciate this moment, ladies and gentlemen, by clapping our hands? Thank you. Now, the claps were fantastic, but there was no sync. So let's have a bit of sync over here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. You're such a fantastic audience. It makes the job of a host so easy. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll also like to call upon stage Mr. Mangesh Shinde, co-founder and MD Osmo, to please kindly give away the token of appreciation and memento to Promita this time. Please give it up for Mr. Mangesh as he joins us on stage. Everybody, thank you. Thank you. And the special moment calls for a special group photograph as well, including all of you. Please, sir, join as well. Thank you. There's a dialogue from an old film. You guess the film. It's called Itna Sannata Kyun Hai? Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful insights and knowledge, and most importantly, taking out time to be with us over here.